Thank you, Mr. Williams, and a pleasant good afternoon to the listening and viewing audience. The Accountant General Department, Ministry of Finance, continues to discharge its duties and responsibilities during this period of the global COVID-19 pandemic. And we are doing this in full compliance with the Finance Administration Act of 2007 and also the various statutory rules and orders issued by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis under the Emergency Powers Act, CAP 19.02. The Accountant General Department is listed among those departments and agencies of government which has fully developed a functional disaster management and recovery and business continuity plan. This plan is updated annually. The plan was developed primarily to mitigate risk associated with emergencies and disasters to which the department is most vulnerable, and these include natural hazards such as hurricanes and earthquakes, human and man-made hazards and disasters such as fire emergencies, and technical disasters such as cybercrime, recognizing that we manage the government financial management infrastructure. Although the emergency preparedness and response planning, although our emergency and preparedness and response planning did not factor in the possibility of the emergence of a global pandemic, I believe that COVID-19 has presented the Accountant General's Department with an excellent opportunity to test the veracity and resilience of our business plan. I would just want to recognize, since I'm in the National Emergency Management Agency, the Office of the NEOC, to recognize the contribution of the staff of Mr. Samuels, particularly Ms. Clarissa Longley Stevens and Ms. Owika Petty. They would have assisted the Treasury, and we are grateful for their assistance. As it relates to the Accountant General's Department COVID-19 response, I am pleased to report that the Accountant General Department, as part of the Ministry of Finance, has been open to the public every business day since the onset of the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on our small island Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Our office hours for the transacting of business with the public is 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Consistent with the protocols that have been established regarding social distancing, the Treasury Department is currently operating on a shift system, whereby our staff report to work at the office on alternate days and alternate business days. In addition, members of staff have been provided with the necessary tools and facilities for the conducting of work from their homes. The Accountant General Department has instituted all the guidelines and protocols issued by the government through its various agencies, including the Ministry of Health and the National Emergency Operations Center, NEOC. These measures include, but are not limited to, controlling the number of customers that appear in our customer service section, the active practice of social and physical distancing between the staff, among staff, and between the staff and customers, and among customers, both within and outside the Treasury. So we would have established the 6 feet parameters, and we only accommodate 3 customers in the public section of the Treasury at any one time. We also instituted the mandatory wearing of masks by both staff and our customers. We have moved to install automatic hand sanitizing dispensers in the public section. This has been a feature within the office interior section of the Treasury for several years. We have always have automatic hand sanitizing dispensing machine. To strengthen our systems, the Accountant General Department would have activated one of its coal sites in line with the guidelines of the emergency management and preparedness systems and business continuity plan that we have in place. A coal site is basically a site where we have a number of our hardware, backup checks and other bits of equipment in storage. If for whatever reason there's a disaster at the Treasury, we can still continue to execute our duties and conduct business. That's a coal site. Sometimes the equipment are sourced in boxes and so forth. However, as it relates to a hot site is one that is almost operational. The computers are in place, everything is there ready to go. In addition to the one hot site that we had prior to COVID, we have since established an additional hot site. So in the event there's, God forbid, an outbreak of COVID at the department, we can continue to discharge our business and our duties to our customers. We also proceeded to provide remote access to designated officers to facilitate the performance of critical functions off-site, these including officers having to work from home. I am pleased to report that during the first week or two of our lockdown, staff from the Treasury Department were able to process salaries and wages doing all the functions from their home. And to me, that's a great achievement. Consistent with the travel guidelines of the government through the NEOC, we also instituted a measure whereby any staff who would have traveled overseas to an affected country recently would be requested to self-isolate, thereby preventing the spread of the possible spread of the virus. We also instituted the frequent cleaning and sanitization of doors, door handles, counters, and other high-frequency touch areas. We placed posters throughout the Treasury Department to educate staff and customers on practices that would curb the spread of COVID-19. We utilized the technology that's available to us and used the monitors in the public section to display videos to heighten sensitization of COVID-19 related guidelines and protocols. We closely monitor and limit the number of persons that are present in the customer service area, as said previously, and we continue to monitor all advisories issued by the NEOC and the Ministry of Health. As it relates to our response and support of the Ministry of Health, the Accountant General Department received a request from the Ministry of Health to conduct an audit at the Joseph N. France General Hospital during the COVID crisis. The audit basically was to audit personal protective equipment which were donated to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. These PPE included isolation gowns and surgical masks, which were donated by the Republic of China and Taiwan, and guard gloves donated by the University of Medicine and Health Sciences. The PPEs, these are stored at the central medical stores at the JNF. The audit was conducted on the 20th of April 2020. A team of 5 auditors from the Treasury would have conducted the audit and completed their report on that very same day. The objective was to verify the items donated to the JNF and to ensure that they're accurately recorded and accounted for, and to verify that the totals recorded were consistent with the inventory list provided by the manager of stores at the Joseph N. France General Hospital. I'm pleased to report that the auditors conducted the count of the physical stock and verified the amounts that were consistent with the inventory provided. As it relates to grants and donations, on the recommendation of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank Board of Directors, the Monetary Council, it was on the 11th of March, approved grant funding in the sum of $500,000 each to each member of government of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. St. Kitts and Nevis and the other member states would have each received $500,000. This was to help in the fight against the novel coronavirus, COVID-19. Half of the grant was dispersed on the 13th of March 2020, and this was dispersed directly to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis to purchase testing and other critical equipment to detect, contain, and manage COVID-19. The remainder, the other $250,000, was dispersed just last week, week before, on the 29th of April, 2020. And this will be utilized to procure equipment, supplies such as ventilators and drugs through the Organization of Eastern Caribbean's Pharmaceutical Procurement Services. Those funds were lodged to an account at the central bank, which is used primarily for paying monies out to the OECS PPS. I am pleased to report also that a number of our citizens and residents, and indeed businesses, would have found it fit to assist the government in this particular pandemic. In this regard, the Accountant General has deposited into a deposit account at the government's treasury an amount totaling $264,784, representing COVID-19 donations received by the Ministry of Health from a number of citizens, residents, and businesses. A quick breakdown of the funds received: general donations, $177,034. Donation towards testing kits. Some donors were specific. We received $30,000 in that regard. Donation towards testing. Some donors felt it was important to assist those persons who may have become infected and were unable to pay for the testing. And we received an amount of $52,500 in that regards. Other donors donated an amount of $5,250 for a grand total of $264,784 that comprised the COVID donations that was raised locally. As stated previously, the Accountant General Department continues to discharge its primary responsibilities and duties, including the maintenance of a reliable accounting system to ensure rational financial management, the timely and accurate payment of all obligations of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. Business must continue. We also facilitate, over the period, the processing of government payroll in collaboration with the payroll unit of the Human Resource Management Department, Office of the Prime Minister, and the timely and accurate payment of remuneration and pension benefits to public servants, government auxiliary employees, and pensioners. Indeed, during the period of the lockdown, and when some regions would have been on alternate days free to shop, we took the decision to pay wages to our weekly employees, the GAEs, on Thursday. So for the last 6 weeks, GAEs are paid on Thursdays, and we will continue that practice. The payment of benefits to beneficiaries under the government Poverty Alleviation Program and COVID-19 relief are also facilitated by the Accountant General Department. In that regard, we are not responsible for the processing of the applications. Our job primarily is to disperse payments to persons who have been identified as eligible for such payments. The Accountant General Department feels strongly that it's important that we continue development of the internal control systems, which are primarily aimed towards providing reliable information that supports the efficient and effective management of the resources of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. We also feel strongly that the maintenance and management of the government treasury bills portfolio is key. Persons will recognize that during last week, I think it was the 5th of May, and this week, the 14th, are treasury bill days. Because of the closure of the post office during the first part of the COVID crisis, we took the decision not to post the allotment letters to our T-bills holders. T-bills holders are invited to come to the Treasury, bring along with you your copy of your last Treasury bill certificate, and we will process your payment. Indeed, as a result of the global COVID-19 pandemic, the Accountant General Department, Ministry of Finance, has been forced to fast-track a number of initiatives, which are geared primarily towards enhancing the level of efficiency of our payment system. This would include the use of direct deposits for the making of payments to all vendors, suppliers, treasury bill holders, utilizing the electronic funds transfer, what we call EFT platform, used by our primary banker, the Singleton Nevis Anglia National Bank. This will eventually lead to a positive outcome where we intend to go towards a checkless system. The goal is we should be able to lodge payments to vendors, other suppliers, direct to their bank accounts, reducing the need for personal direct contact with our staff and reducing opportunities for the spread of the disease. In addition, and consistent with the government trust towards establishing a digital economy, the Ministry of Finance has engaged the services of Deloitte to assist the government with the development of a high-level online payment strategy and vendor selection of an online payment platform. This will enable the government to deliver a comprehensive payment platform for citizens, residents, and businesses to transact business. The Accountant General Department has been charged by the Ministry of Finance to serve as convener and facilitator of this engagement. This platform is different to the one that I spoke to earlier, where we would want to pay our suppliers. We are already paying our pensioners, our employees, both salaried and weekly, directly through the banking system. We want now to bring online our treasury bill holders. But this other platform relates primarily, that we are working with Deloitte, is to facilitate payments to government, whereby other departments, other revenue agencies such as Customs, Water Department, JNF and others, can join the Inland Revenue Department as an agency that can facilitate transaction online. So you would have all learned that during the lockdown, we were able to still pay for our licenses of vehicles and driver's license online. We would want persons to be able to transact business of the customs using a particular platform. These are some of the initiatives that the government is keen on putting forward as we continue to cope with the challenges that are presented to us by COVID. I would like to take this opportunity to express my profound gratitude to my management team and staff at the Accountant General's Department. I would really want to thank them for their commitment, their diligence, dedication to their duties and responsibilities, and for their service to our nation, especially during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. I've seen a new spirit among the staff. Persons are eager to assist. Persons are coming out to work. And I'm very, very pleased. So on behalf of a grateful nation, I would want to express my sincere thanks to the staff of the Accountant General's Department. Thank you very much.